Hello everyone and welcome. This is episode 3 of Office Hours with Pascal in partnership with the Luxembourg House of Financial Technology and MiddleGame Ventures and yours truly. I'm very excited for this third episode and let's dive in. First question, has the pandemic changed your business? Yes, it has, right? One of the cardinal rules of VC investing is to meet the founding team, the CEO in person. More than once. That's extremely important for us. So if we're not able to travel, if we're not able to meet someone, we have to revert to video conferences. We have to revert to different ways of figuring out from a due diligence point of view if we want to invest in that business, in these persons that have created and founded that business. And that means that the entire process from the very beginning that we have a first call and a first video conference call to the end where we invest has to be rethought. So it means that sometimes we go deeper in certain aspects, other times we go faster on the other aspects. And as a result, at the margin, our business of investing has changed. Second question, what about Plana? Plana raised 1 billion at 31 billion valuation. That makes it a very hefty and a very big company. Is that something that is reasonable? The answer is yes. Plana is a fantastic startup. Well, it's not a startup anymore. It's not a scale-up. It's like a humongous business. These types of humongous businesses in financial technology in Europe are needed. There's going to be soon an IPO, I think. They have great UX. They have great execution with partners. They have great customer centricity. And they were able, from the very beginning, to monetize their financial service business, which is very different than neobanks, which is very different than banks or payments businesses. So the answer here is a resounding yes, it makes sense, and they're going to grow even more from here. Third question, someone is asking that VC firms and VC investors are adding expertise like product and marketing and operational expertise over and above their investing expertise. Does that make sense? Well, yes, it does. And actually, I'm surprised that people are finding out that some VC firms are adding these types of expertise to their resume, because that should be table stakes. A VC investor brings capital, and then they advise a startup on how the startup should grow, the pitfalls to avoid, and so on and so forth. And from that perspective, they have to know about sales, they have to know about product, they have to know about engineering. Obviously, not one VC investor is a jack of all trades, but they have to have specific operational expertise to be an even better investor. So yes, it makes sense. And fourth question, that one is a tricky one. Why doesn't Europe have a big tech business or several big tech businesses to rival those in the US and China? Gosh, that many different reasons, right? Capital markets in Europe and the European Union are not as homogenized and as big as, for example, in the US. That's one reason. Second reason, for a startup to be a national champion, let's say in Germany or in Poland or in France or in Italy, that's fairly easy. To become a national champion, to become more than a national champion all over Europe, that's way more difficult. You need a lot of capital, you need a lot of expertise, and so far you haven't had that many startups doing so because VC investing is tough. And I get back to the first reason, the capital markets aspect is much more constrained than in the US, for example. So I think for these reasons, we haven't seen big tech businesses yet in Europe. Fifth question, the last one I think, and that is a zoological question. Someone is asking if zebras will overcome unicorns. So unicorns, we know them, businesses that reach an incredible valuation in a short period of time with a lot of capital being raised. And sadly, a unicorn sometimes dies and goes to the graveyard of unicorns, as we've seen. And the issue there is, are startups growing too fast sometimes and raising too much capital, and the expectations are so much that there's such a risk. And now comes another classification, that of zebras. And zebra startups are the ones that are more fundamentally sound, growing probably not as fast as a unicorn, but growing in a sounder way with less operational risk. So from that perspective, I say, yes, of course, zebras should always have been the norm, and unicorns, not necessarily. So a thumbs up for zebra. Goodbye.